Shalom. First and foremost, before I begin, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakadash. I want to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Mills from Ruel T. Sound Doctrine, and strong shalom to the hopeful elect. Just jump straight into it. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai didn't raise up soft men. Salakin. The inspiration for this lesson through the Spirit came through the video elder. Apostle Ricard, Elder D-Mass did recently not too long ago. Talk about being feeble and timid. You know, the Lord don't fuck with that type of spirit. And I'm expound on that, through the precepts and try to paint the picture, Lord willing, this to be edifying. And it's also, through the Spirit correlate with a conversation I was having with a brother. So anybody that is of the hopeful elect and might be feeling the same or recognizing that spirit, we're going to rebuke it together. Name how about Shem Shah. But this is Isaiah 50:81. It says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sins. So going back to the point of the lesson, Yahweh Shem Shah didn't raise up weak men. The Lord raised up men who are going to first and foremost profess what Yahweh Shem Shah says without any guile, without any malice. Not going to spare anybody's feelings like the scriptures say. It also says in Wisdom of Solomon, Wisdom of Solomon 5:1, it says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. So we're going to stand tall in front of our enemies, which include Esau, Edom, and the other nations, in confederacy with him, to keep us from our heritage and to keep us suppressed and trodden underfoot, and 2/3 of our own people who think we out here for nothing, who think it's all vain when we put our hands to the plow and serve Yahweh Shem Shah. Verse 2, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. They shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he, whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. So this is the person that we made fun of, the person that we disregarded. Verse 4, we fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Heavenly Father, and his lot is among the saints? So, those men who are standing in great boldness, as a proverb, being ridiculed, derision, those are the prophets, starting with Elder Apostle Har on down. Boldly professing the will of Yahweh Shem Shah, precept upon precept, line upon line. Isaiah 13:2, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Another example of being bold. And Yahweh Shem Shah not raising up weak men, because we're not literally walking up to the doorsteps of the White House. We're not creeping in to where the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, and the other wicked elites say and point them out and tell them, you Esau, we got you figured out. We got you, bitch. No, we do that through these video epistles, through the breaking down of the scriptures. The Comforter open our eyes so we can see these things. You know what I'm saying? It's that banner that we're lifting up is the scriptures. Mountains represent governments and peoples. Exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand. Shake the hand, showing displeasure. And the voice that we're echoing, we are the voice of Yahweh Shem Shah, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Because the wicked elites, the nobles, are really running shit. And we are professing them to be the devils that they are. And we're justified because it's the truth. But nevertheless, just a quick precept just to prove that it was certain prophets who had physical strength, and then they were strong, mighty in the spirit. Like, for example, Elisha. It's 1 Kings 19:19. It says, so he departed thence and found Elisha the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him. So you got to be strong to handle 12 yoke of oxen. You know what I'm saying? And he, with the 12th, and Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him. And that was just a quick example. And then King David, he did great things too. We'll go to that in Sirach. This is Sirach chapter 47, and I start at the top. It says, and after him rose up Nathan to prophesy in the time of David. And these few chapters, neighbor 47, is honoring great men. You know, it says, as is the fat taken away from the peace offering, so was David chosen out of the children of Israel. He played with lions as kids, and with bears as with lambs. Slew he not a giant when he was yet but young? Another man who stood stiffly and boldly for the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. You go back and read it, and he was offended how Goliath was talking about Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. He was also offended on how scared these people were. These people being King Saul and the rest of the army of Israel. He says, slew he not a giant when he was yet but young? And did he not take away reproach from the people when he lifted up his hand with the stone and the sling and beat down the boasting of Goliath? For he called upon the Most High Lord, and he gave him strength in his right hand to slay that mighty warrior. And that's the faith that you're going to have. The scriptures talk about, matter of fact, just quick interjection, priest, so I don't ruin it. Romans 15:4 says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So the things that we read about pertaining to our forefathers, Edomite scholars try to dismantle it. A lot of people try to look at it as a fairy tale, but the elect recognize that that's part of our history. And we realize that, as miraculous and crazy as it sounds, that was a fact and that actually happened. And we take the meat off the bones, understand the context that when it boils down to it in the simplest form, somebody came up against the anointed of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and through faith and actions to match that faith, David defeated an enemy of Israel and an enemy of the Lord, and he did other great things for Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which you're gonna read for yourself. But back in that Sirach 47 and 6, it says, so the people honored him with 10,000s and praised him in the blessings of the Lord, and that he gave him a crown of glory. For he destroyed the enemies on every side and brought to naught the Philistines his adversaries, and break their horn in sunder unto his day. So, and Samuel talked about how, as a matter of fact, let me grab it real quick, because that's quoted in this precept here in Samuel. This is 1 Samuel 18. I'll start at verse 6. And it came to pass, as they came when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the woman came out of all cities of Israel singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him. And he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed 1,000s. And what can he have more but the kingdom? So, yeah, Yahweh Simeon Shai put the spirit on David. The Lord rewarded the faith that he had. You know what I'm saying? But point being, Yahweh Simeon Shai did not raise up weak men. I have another example. I quoted that. I didn't quote it. I read that Romans 15:4. We look to our forefathers for different examples of strength and faith and how the Lord can pull you out of any type of situation or any background and make you a prophet or make you do his bidding. Point being with Elijah's understudy, King David. The Sirach 47 gave a little bit of his background, and one of my personal favorites is the Apostle Paul. And bear with me while I find that precept. Shalom to everybody watching. Y'all about to start back a thumb to the hopeful elect. Because Paul, he was murking shit. He was a murderer, but he had a zeal. And then once the Lord put the Spirit on him, he recognized that he was going off. He had that same zeal and passion, but for the Lord. So a little bit of background before I bring up this precept. Saul at the time, Saul, who would eventually be the Apostle Paul, was persecuting the church. And then, the Lord in this chapter, Acts 9, he took his vision in Damascus. And then we just gonna read the precept. It's Acts 9:1, and I'm gonna close after this. It says, and Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest. So this is before, Yahweh Shem changed his life. He was persecuting the church and desired of him letters to Damascus to the synagogue, that if he found any of this way, whether I'm read this in the NLT. Acts 9:1 in the NLT, it says, meanwhile Saul was uttering threats with every breath and was eager to kill the Lord's followers. So he went to the high priest. He requested letters addressed to the synagogues in Damascus, asking for their cooperation in the arrest of any followers of the way he found there. He wanted to bring them, both men and women, back to Jerusalem in chains. So he had a zeal to, make the followers of Yahweh make their life a living hell. Verse 3, as he was approaching Damascus on the mission, a light from heaven suddenly shone down around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Who are you, Lord? Saul asked. And the voice replied, I am Yahweh, the one you are persecuting, right? The body. It says, now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. The men with Saul stood speechless, for they had heard the sound of someone's voice, but saw no one. Saul picked himself up off the ground, but when he opened his eyes, he was blind. So his companions led him by the hand to Damascus. He remained there blind for 3 days and did not eat nor drink. Now there was a believer in Damascus named Ananias. The Lord spoke to him in a vision, calling, Ananias. Yes, Lord, he replied. The Lord said, go over to Straight Street to the house of Judas. When you get there, ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul. He is praying to me right now. I have shown him a vision of a man named Ananias coming in and laying hands on him so he can see again. Go back to the KJV. But this is powerful, And those of us in the know, the Apostle Paul went on to do great things and preaching to the Israelite foreigners, people who were taking on the ways of the captivities that they were in, particularly the Greek. They were Hellenized during that Roman captivity. But Yahweh Shah put the Spirit on him to let them know, like, hey, you're an Israelite. You're not really a Greek. You're not really a Roman. You know what I'm saying? Acts 9:11, it says in the KJV, And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus. For behold, he prayeth, and have seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him, that he might receive his sight. Then Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard by many of this man how much evil he hath done to thy saints at Jerusalem. And here he have authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But the Lord said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles, not the actual heathen, the Israelites in a Gentile state of mind, and kings and the children of Israel. For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. So that was somebody who was body, who was actually killing. And he turned that zeal, towards Yahweh outside. He turned it constructively through the Spirit, because verse 15 again says, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel to me to bear my name before the Gentiles. So to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel, for I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And Ananias went his way and entered into the house, and putting his hands on him, said, Brother Saul, the Lord, even Yahushua, that appeared unto thee in the way as thou camest, have sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight and be filled with the Holy Spirit. And immediately there fell from his eyes as it had been scales, and he received sight forthwith, and arose and was baptized. And when he had received meat, he was strengthened. Then was Saul certain days with the disciples which were at Damascus. And straightway he preached Yahushua in the synagogues, that he is the Son of the living power. But all that heard him were amazed, and said, Is not this he that destroyed them which call on this name in Jerusalem, and came hither for that intent, that he might bring them bound unto the chief priest? So the Lord raised up an oxman, he raised up a shepherd, and he even raised up a murderer. Yahweh Shah has chosen vessels, and those chosen vessels came out of different backgrounds and are doing great things, professing the name of Yahweh Shah, chanting on Babylon the Great, and things of that nature, man. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rachakodash. I want to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone, rule well, teach sound doctrine, and a strong shalom to the hopeful elect. Just to recap on a couple points, Yahweh Shah did not raise up weak men. We got to have confidence in the Lord. You know what I'm saying? We got to have faith and works to substantiate that faith. And, precept upon precept, line upon line, I supported my claim. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. And until next time, shalom.